Hi, I'm Adriana.
And I'm Connor, and this is part of the Ananda Sacramento Garden Mini Farm. We're using a style of farming called biointensive mini farming, which was designed to grow a full diet of food for a family of 4 on a quarter acre. So we're trying to grow enough food for Master's Kitchen, and this is our grain area. So 60% of our crops are going to be grain and protein crops, 30% are going to be high calorie crops, and then 10% are specialty crops like lettuce and things like that. So this is the grain area.
Here we're growing mostly grains and beans. So we have amaranth, corn, sunflowers, and a small millet patch. And we're doing traditional Three Sisters. So under all of the sunflowers and the corn we have beans, and under everything we have squash as well. So the corn and the sunflowers are the grains, the beans provide nitrogen to help them grow, and then the squash will become covers for the ground to help retain moisture. And I think we have cantaloupe, watermelon, and 5 or 6 types of squash in here. So we're very excited.
So we have a lot of different plants growing together so that they'll work harmoniously and help each other grow. That's basically the idea.
And what has inspired you to do this work?
I mean, part of our life goals philosophy is to grow our own food, really try and remove ourselves as much as we can from the capitalist system. Especially the current food system is just so exploitative, both on the land and on human life. So it's part of our praxis, part of our philosophy is to grow as much of our own food as we can. Be a part of the land, have a relationship with the land.
Do you feel like there's more energy, more life force in food that's grown by hand?
Yeah, I think there definitely is. And not just growing by hand, because like tractors and also using fossil fuels are harmful, but growing a lot of different plants together, having a very biodiverse landscape, I think you can feel more energy and more life forms here. And I mean, it looks like everything is growing really well. So, I mean, we just listen to the plants and do whatever we think helps them the best.
And this is only the first year, but part of our philosophy is really to create life in the soil and take care of the soil. We want to make sure that the things are alive and they stay alive and they continue, so that you don't have to dump, huge amounts of compost or anything on it every year. It's just maintained and taken care of.
And I've noticed that you've taken a lot of space that was just neglected in between the apartment buildings and put in beds and all of that. You want to talk a little bit about making use of available space?
So at least here in California, like lawns, grass is not native to this area. It's actually pretty much, I see it as a desert. Nothing grows there that the animals can eat or we can eat. And even if it's just putting in native grasses that you don't have to water over the summer, or putting in food, I mean, it changes a lot. The climate and the availability to local animals, as well as just like the soil composure.
Yeah, and especially back here behind the church, like this was all just invasive grass. So it seemed like maybe not a good place to grow, but with all of the trees here, it helps give shade for the Sacramento sun. And they've been dropping leaves on the ground for many years, which have composted into it. So there's actually, this is some of the best soil that's been here. Mm-hmm. So places that maybe seem like things couldn't grow there or were unutilized space can actually be, full of life as if you take care of it and really think about what works there. So, yeah.
Especially in the sun. We didn't think things would grow under the shade here, but it's so hot here.
Like it looks pretty shady now, and there's sunflowers, which you would think would need full sun, but
They're 8 feet tall already.
They're doing great.
It's June.
Yeah. And I think they'll definitely need some of the shade once it starts, being consistently in the 100 degrees.
This corn was planted, a month ago?
Yeah.
It is so tall. I'm amazed every day.
And the beds that you have over in between the apartment buildings, what do you have growing there?
I mean,
everything.
we have a lot of things going because we're trying to do a full diet for Master's Kitchen. It's not like conventional farming where maybe even someone would grow up to 20 crops. We maybe have 60 crops. We sort of stopped counting because we're growing smaller amounts because it's a smaller community, but trying to do a lot of different things so that we can really have a full diet. So
really thinking about what do people need for 3 meals a week for 15 to 20 people. What can we preserve so that we can have things growing throughout the year. So right now we have all our summer crops: tomatoes, summer squash, peppers, eggplants, lots of onions, carrots. We have a potato bed. We're going to put sweet potatoes in later today. What else do we got?
I mean, there's
lots of green beans.
A lot of different greens. We have amaranth for greens. We have a couple different kinds of lettuce, some spinach and chard, leeks.
Lots of basil. That's a favorite around here.
Yeah. We're going to put some radishes in. I don't know. A lot of different things. I've lost count of so many things.
And the fruit trees are growing well here?
I mean,
they struggle.
Some of them do, but some of them are doing really well. I mean, the fig trees are doing great. The kumquat tree has a lot on it. The lemons, are starting to form new lemons. The same with the orange. The persimmons look like they're doing pretty well too. I mean, there's a lot of fruit trees here. So
Yeah,
I think
our stone fruit are really what struggle.
Yeah.
They have a hard time here. I think there's both disease in the ground and it's just too hot for them, I think.
Even the apricots?
The apricots do better than the other ones, but yeah.
And how about avocados?
We'll see. I don't know how well they did last year.
I think they're still a little young.
Yeah.
So I think, we have young trees and we also have old trees. So the young ones aren't really producing and the old ones are starting to slow down in their production. But there's also a lot in the middle. So I think it's just managing it and taking care of it and seeing, taking each tree by itself to see what it needs.
Well, thank you so much for all of your wonderful work. It's a real blessing for this community.
We love doing it, so we appreciate being able to use
It's good practice.
Yeah,
we're experimenting.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to say?
I think that's it.
Okay.